Hello everybody, this is the Apocalyptic Blacksmith, and today we are going to be making a prototype cardboard Plague Doctor mask. I would like to make another mask like this in the future, but out of metal. I just wanted to see how everything would work with the nose and such, simply because I never really did anything like this in the past. I thought it was a pretty neat idea considering the state that the world is in at the moment. I don't exactly want to say it because I don't really want to get demonetized at the moment, but we all know what I'm talking about. Before we jump into the tutorial, I did make a Patreon account for the Apocalyptic Blacksmith YouTube channel. If half of my subscribers, only half, donated $1 to the Patreon account, that's all I'm asking for on the Patreon is $1, I would have enough funds to basically do any project or any video imaginable, just having all of that resource. It would really help out the channel a lot, so the link is in the description. If you could check it out, I would greatly appreciate it. Here's just some stuff I picked up at Walmart. I have a foam head, which is you don't really need, but it's nice to have. I have some cloth. I have a mask. And I have some epoxy, but it turns out you actually do not need the epoxy. A hot glue gun would work just fine for that. The first step is to print out the template. I actually did not make the template myself. Another YouTuber by the name of Miss Stanley made it. She also has a video on her channel on how to make a Plague Doctor mask, but hers is in paper. Both links are in the description. I highly recommend that you check out her video. That was exciting. All I'm doing here is just cutting out the paper pieces to get them ready to trace them out on cardboard. Or if you want, I highly recommend doing it maybe with like a cardboard for like a cereal box. I used cardboard for like a packaging box, so it's really thick and it didn't really work. But yeah, I mean, if you got like a cereal box laying around, I'd definitely use that instead. If I could give any type of advice for this part, I would say, just make sure your cardboard is as thin and malleable as possible, because it's not going to be easy to mold later on in the process if it's really thick. Also, just make sure that you hold down the paper pieces, like the template itself, down really, really well, so you don't lose trace of it. Because if you lose trace of it, the shape might end up being a little bit different. With metal, it's easier to just put a magnet down, but, I mean, if it's not magnetic, what's the point? As any type of tracing rule would apply, you would want to make sure that all flat pieces are lined up against the piece of cardboard that you don't have to cut. As you could see in the video here, I traced the longest part, the longest flat piece, or the longest flat line of the shape against the edge of the cardboard. so that way whenever I cut it out, I don't have to spend time cutting the cardboard. All I have to do is focus on the curves. If you're using a really hefty cardboard, definitely make sure your scissors are really heavy duty, because the scissors I was using were just home appliance scissors. They really weren't all that special, so it was kind of tough cutting out the cardboard. Since the cardboard was so thick, I had to find a way to make it malleable. I actually just started squeezing it like bubble wrap to kind of get the air out of there, to kind of squish it so I could bend it how I wanted to without any major creasing. Again, if you just use a cereal box, you won't have to do this. But if you're using like a packaging box for this, you're probably gonna have to do what I'm doing. Just do whatever you really need to do to shape these pieces. I just used the edge of my table. I find that worked out the best. But if you want to use like maybe like a pipe or a broomstick to slowly warp it around, that will work as well. Hot gluing it kind of sucked. I actually ended up just using duct tape to hold the pieces together. Then I used hot glue on the top. Here, I actually tried to hot glue it directly together. It didn't really work out too well. Getting some type of stand or finding some way to get the two pieces to lean against each other is a definite must. And please don't do that, you know, just don't do what I did. Literally, dude, just get a stand or something. I just used standard packing tape for the inside, and obviously, as you see, I have hot glue on the outside. That appeared to hold the mask together pretty well. All I'm doing is the same thing I did to the faceplates. I'm literally just trying to mold the upper faceplate for this. Proceed to hot glue the upper faceplate to the other two faceplates. All you need to do here is flip the side face pieces over the upper face piece. It would be a good idea to use some hot glue to glue the side pieces you just flipped over to, you know, make sure the whole thing is sturdy. all I'm doing here is just cutting the little ends off on the mask. I don't really need them. In Miss Stanley's video, she used them to curve around the mask to make it circular. I'm not going to do that. I'm just gonna put a medical mask or a paint mask inside of it, you know, just to hold it together. So I don't really need these. In Miss Stanley's video, she made an underpiece for her mask to serve as an, you know, kind of like an undercover type thing. I'm not going to do that simply because the piece I cut out is too small. Okay, this part was actually really stupid because instead of using some type of crafting paint or, you know, some type of brush paint, I decided to use spray paint. Now, I don't think spray paint is bad. The only problem with me is I used really cheap spray paint and it didn't really work all that well. What I did is I decided to have an undercoat of black and an overcoat of white. That way, if the mask got scratched, there wouldn't just be like a brown scratch. It would hopefully, you know, just be black, so it would look more natural. But if you're going to do this, seriously, just use some type of brush paint or crafting paint, or if you are going to use spray paint, maybe just spray paint it white from the get-go or whatever other color you want it. Just don't use really cheap spray paint. It's not worth it. And I probably wasted a lot of spray paint on this because it just didn't stick. And I had to put many coats on. I tried the white coat here. It didn't really work out. Now that I look back at it, I wish I just kept it the way it was, you know, whenever it was just black and didn't even try doing white. I personally, in the end, I definitely do like the black look more. Please wear a mask where you're doing all painting to protect your lungs. You know, definitely do not try to spray paint without wearing a mask. It could be very dangerous and you could really hurt yourself. I apologize for the poor video quality. In this part of the video, I forgot to check my camera for focus. It's not horrible, but it's very visually not appealing. But basically, the whole point of this part is to glue the fabric on the inside of the mask. You only want to cut out a little bit of fabric to cover up the eyes. Once you get it lined up, just get some hot glue and just kind of, you know, just glue it in there. Gluing the mask into, or gluing the medical mask or the painting mask, whatever you really want to call it, I think is probably one of the easier parts of this build. All you have to do is line it up with the eyes, so that you know you could obviously see, and just literally just glue it in there, and then after that you're basically done. And that is how you make a Plague Doctor mask. Thank you for watching.